Ballard takes back, leads the rush. Over the line down the right side, finds into the high slot. Stillman shot. Rebound, they shoot, they score! Get in my belly! Zednik again, fires another shot. Open net, Stillman scores! Do you mind if we dance with your dates? Stillman puts it right out in front, turn around shot by Frolik, he shoots, he scores! I had coffee with McCauley a half an hour ago. Into the high slot, Pelton, and he scores! A one-timer by Billy Pelton. I'll have what he's having. Pelton and down the right side on Ranger. He's got a seam, finds Bomeister, throws it out in front, and a shot there. They shoot, they score! I'm your Huckleberry!
All of these movie references, 15 years old or more, totally random. Roy is smiling back there the entire time. I think that was when Harry met Sally. I think he was supposed to say, "I'll have what she's having." He just made it he, because Randy Moeller couldn't be controlled. And he got a lot of these wrong. He'll be on with us tomorrow. But right now, is that Mike Ryan?
The belch, I believe.
Okay, all right. I'm getting a little annoyed with what's happening here. Mike Ryan, on behalf of Meadowlark Media, is in Vegas covering the Panthers.
The last time we saw him, he had a shirt on.
He did have a shirt on, but now he's gone robe. Is that what is that robe? What the bathrobe is? What hotel are you staying in right now with poor lighting behind you?
A very expensive one.
Okay, excellent work so far from out there. Amin will join us from wherever it is that he is in Denver. Billy, why are you looking that way?
Well, the kidnapper seemed to have set up a microphone with a mic flag.
It's
Very nice
It's
of
a
him.
poorly executed bit. Did he think to himself on the flight over there, I've got this whole thing planned out, and then forgot what the details were because he went gambling and drank too much? Because I know that Mike Ryan is hitting those casinos. Like you
I came up with a great bit. I was like, John, here's a great idea. I disappear on you. And I convinced him that it was a bit when really all I wanted to do was just gamble.
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a great bit. Let's pretend
Yeah.
like I get kidnapped and you don't see me for the rest of the day.
How are the craps tables doing? How are they treating you?
Not great. Not great.
You know, I will say this of the hockey Panther run, 8 straight playoff games. I really did feel on the last one in Vegas, you lose 5-2, you're close, the third period falls apart on you. The way you clap at the end of a good craps run. Like, yes,
Good
that's
job.
it. Like,
Good job.
you know
Good
what?
job.
Of
We got a
course,
shorty.
Good roll. Good
We'll
roll.
be back. We'll be back.
Of course, I wanted it to roll forever. I never wanted to lose a road playoff game again. But good roll,
Who's
hell of
going
a
next?
roll.
Who's going next? Yeah, you got this.
Mike, are you on pills?
Some, but not more than usual.
Has anyone commented on your nice hat?
I get that a lot. I get that a lot.
Shopped out the great
How
Cody
you
Show.
doing, Bubba?
I don't
good?
know who you're talking to. You're in your hotel.
I'm talking to you. Yeah.
Well, we're happy here because your heat that you have gone back and forth on,
Yeah.
that was a bit of an improbable one. I think most people probably expected them to come down 2-0, but I don't think you're in the condition to cover either teams right now.
Oh, no, it was great. I was very cocky. There's a lot of, I guess it's proximity. There's a lot of Nuggets fans here in Vegas, not a lot of Heat fans. And I went to a sports bar after the craps tables, and I was surrounded by Nuggets fans, and I was the biggest Duncan Robinson supporter you've ever met. I loved that fourth quarter. I loved this team, and they needed to steal one on the road for this to all be possible. And they're going to win the championship. I've never been more sure of anything in my entire life, and I can't explain it. And I'll just attribute it to coaching and culture. It makes no sense.
I feel so bad for Mike Schur because he's never been more right. And usually when you've never been more right, that's supposed to feel good. But it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare for him. At the end of last night, all I get from him is I hate this team so much. And, Stugotz, it's been beaten out of the Celtics because listen to this Bill Simmons sound here. I did not think that I would ever live long enough to hear this.
At some point, you can't stop what God wants to happen. And it just seems like God is like, I like this Heat team. I'm just enjoying this.
That's the highest compliment that
God's
you
saying,
can
right?
give.
Great.
Yeah, like I mean, God, it's God's team. The Heat are God's team. That's what's happened to the Celtics fan.
He told me that in the woods. I should have told you guys. I forgot though.
God's team.
Don't say anything the rest of this show. You're not
It
going to
was
top
perfect.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
just go. Take the train. Go home. You're good.
Like the Heat
This
team.
is a good day for you.
Jeremy, you were looking to say something there as the Heat Homer journalist.
I was just thinking of Mike Schur and how being so right about a basketball take and having it be for your worst possible enemy seems like the type of torture he would have written up for The Bad Place in his own show.
Do the people listening to this understand that no commentator anywhere on earth has been more correct about the magic toolbox of dark arts the Heat have than Mike Schur? And he's gotten to enjoy exactly none of it because at every haunting step, he's the guy in the haunted house who's been yelling, "There's a killer coming. You guys know the killer is coming." And here's the funny thing. In the last game, they were looking for the killer of Jimmy Butler. Didn't even need him this time. This time it's Gabe Vincent because none of this makes any sense. It's crazy town.
If we would have listened to one of his breakdowns from back in February, it would sound like he was breaking down last night's game. Like all the things he was saying were exactly right.
40-14 run, and yet the Heat still find themselves in the game late in the fourth quarter.
Zombies.
Jokic scored 41 points.
Zombies
At home.
is what he's called them. It's because it's get some free throws, make some threes, don't turn the ball over. The other team will figure out how to screw it up.
I like this Heat team.
God also likes this Heat team. Where were you, Mike? You were sober when you were watching this? Amin is in Denver looking for the Jokic brothers. You were not. He'll be next.
No.
He will join us next. You were not sober.
No, not at all. I haven't been sober since I landed. I love Las Vegas. Every Stanley Cup should be in Las Vegas. This is an incredible town, and I'm having the time of my life.
Put it on the poll. Should every Stanley Cup be in Las Vegas at LeBatard Show? Billy, you want to give Mike some of your thoughts on the overly ornate Vegas show that you just want your hockey stunningly and no more Renaissance fair, no more jousting, no more medieval times?
Well, Mike, you know me. I'm a big puck guy, as are you. And we were saying, hey, when it's time to drop the puck, let's drop the puck. No jousting, no sword fighting, no ascending into the rafters with LED lights. Let's play some hockey.
I loved it. I that's usually right up your alley, but I know you're a pure hockey fan,
big
so
puck guy, yeah.
all
Original
the, pomp
six.
and circumstance.
Yeah.
It probably falls the wrong way, but they had Michael Buffer.
Can
all
you
of it
name the
looked
six?
really cool. I thought I'm excited to experience that today if I can get a ticket.
Let's do that test.
The original
No,
six.
don't let
Stay
him
off
go
the
to the
computer,
computer.
stay
Get
off
him
the
off the
computer,
computer.
Bill.
Get him off the
Computer.
computer.
Close that laptop.
Let's see what you got here. You might be able to do this.
I'm not on trial here.
I asked the question, Billy. It's
You are.
yours.
What a betrayal, my Stugotz. You're not on
Yeah,
trial. But
jeez. I mean, good luck telling a joke the rest of the show, Stugotz. Jeez.
wow.
That was rude.
Jesus. That was excessive. That was cutting. Good luck
The
telling.
Bruins?
Name the six.
The
Okay?
Bruins? The Canucks?
No.
The Hartford Whalers?
Not the Canucks.
No.
Oh, yeah.
The Mighty Ducks?
I don't know if he's
No.
right or not.
The Penguins?
Shit.
No.
Duncan gave Jokic the stink face. Duncan Robinson. Mike, you've been hard on Duncan Robinson. So hard. And I don't know if you've seen some of these numbers, Stugotz, because it's a little bit crazy that the one bailing them out last night was Duncan Robinson, who admittedly, I think, would not be playing at all. Wouldn't be playing at all if other people hadn't gotten injured. When you look at some of these numbers of what's happening in the fourth quarter, this is also from John Schumann. Heat point differential through 20 playoff games. And keep in mind, the first 10 Jimmy Butler games, a lot different than the last 8. They have not gotten prime Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler has looked more like what Jimmy Butler always looks like than what he looked like in the first 10 games, which is playoff Jimmy. Heat point differential through 20 playoff games. First quarter, -1. Second quarter, -11. Third quarter, -12. Fourth quarter, +90. Fourth quarter, +90. Stugotz, the Heat have played a record 44 games this year decided by 5 or fewer points. The entire game plan is Just play it until the fourth quarter. Free throws, threes, free throws, threes. Let's set up the defense. Bam, can you bail us out? Now, it's going to be harder against this human being because it's the best player on the planet, and he's going to adjust. You think Jimmy adjusted one game to the next with the Celtics where stop pump fakes? Jokic is better than Jimmy, period. He's a better basketball player than Jimmy, and he's going to be in this series, but it's 1-1. And they somehow stole a game in Denver when Denver hadn't lost at home since March, and Miami hadn't won there in 7 bleeping years.
How crazy is it that the Heat won in Game 7 against the Celtics and won last night with regular season Jimmy? Like, everyone's talking about how this Heat team is just all Jimmy.
No, it's
but
not.
that's part of it,
that.
right?
I know he's still defend. I don't want to dismiss. He's contributing in a lot of ways, but he hasn't been the playoff Jimmy the last
Chris,
few games.
It's not regular season Jimmy. Regular season Jimmy was efficient. 7 for 19 on the road. You should lose every playoff game against the MVP. Like, the fact that they won that game with Gabe Vincent and Duncan Robinson carrying them as Jokic goes for 40.
He's 13 of 33 for the series. Like, he hasn't been great. He hasn't been the Jimmy Butler in the playoffs that we become accustomed to, and I can't believe I'm saying that.
Jimmy Butler.
But they're getting it from Gabe Vincent, and they're getting it from other places, and that's the beauty of this team.
This season, Jimmy Butler was the most efficient version of Jimmy Butler there has ever been. That's not even that. That's not 33% Jimmy Butler. They can't overcome that, I would say, but 1-1 after 2 games because why? Dark arts. Why? Because sorcery.
Darts.
Because Santeria. Because they sacrificed a baby giraffe somewhere.
And because of God.
And God likes them as well, which is a decided advantage. I think it's better than
I like
all the
this Heat
others.
team. I'm just enjoying this.
It's God talking.
I like this Heat team.
It's good to have God on your team.
Enjoying this.
Mike, go see God tonight at whatever nightclub you're going to. Thank you, sir. Good. What? Really? Really? Did you just do cocaine?
Here's Horton over the line. Waits. Leaves it there for Booth. Wrist shot. Shoots. He scores! Wilson! Into the high slot. Here comes Bowmeister. Shoots. He scores! Kelly Clarkson! Zednik takes a hard hit in behind the goal. Forced to the far side. He's on his backhand. Puts it back to the point. The Ballard, a shot. He scores! Ballard from a one-timer. Mike Carr just hit a water buffalo. Bowmeister, backhand pass over in the far side. Weiss shoots. He scores! We've got ourselves a bleeder. Frolik picks it up right out in front. They shoot. They score! Michael Frolik, what a turnaround shot. Got in behind Baron. Hey, welcome to Con Air. The Panthers have a 2-1 lead.
Stugotz, one of the things that I love about the pace of hockey, which is an insanity, is it goes Montour to Tkachuk to Cousins and 2 shots, open net, and he gets hit with a stick in the face. No time for replay. Gotta go the other way with the puck. We'll get back to it when we can if there's a stop in the action, if someone's bleeding. But no time to watch what the puck was flying over the net. The net was empty. Cousins is holding his face. What the hell just happened on my television? The puck's going the other way. We'll get to a replay in 90 seconds. It all goes too fast. And then my dog's barking and scared in the corner and quivering. Amin is in Denver, Stugotz.
Yep.
He is looking for the Jokic brothers. And,
dangerous game.
And he was there last night doing the post-game show with Tom Haberstroh. If you want an excellent X's and O's breakdown, that's also fun, but will tell you a little bit better what it is that you're seeing out there. These are not untrained eyes. Amin, I would say, and Tom Haberstroh are doing a kind of coverage that is not what Spo hit Ramona Shelburne with yesterday. I want to play this sound for Amin real quick to get his thoughts on this. Everyone knows that Ramona Shelburne is deeply qualified, knows what she's watching, is an expert, but we are not as expert as Spo. No one is as expert as Spo, and he bared his teeth last night in a question from Ramona Shelburne.
Hey, Coach. Ramona Shelburne, ESPN. This is probably oversimplifying things, but sometimes when teams play against Jokic, you turn him into a scorer, you turn him into a passer, and he controls the game. He only had 4 assists tonight.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. You know, it's just, that's the untrained eye that says something like that. This guy's an incredible player. You know, twice in 2 seasons, he's been the best player on this planet. You can't just say, oh, make him a scorer. That's not how they play. They have so many different actions that just get you compromised. We have to focus on what we do. You know, we try to do things the hard way, and he requires you to do many things the hard way. And he has our full respect. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Coach.
Amin, what are your thoughts there? You're smirking, you're laughing. What are your thoughts?
I thought Spo was just being combative. You know, whether you don't like the phrasing, the way the terminology that Ramona used, I think we all understood what she meant. And what she meant was, in game 1, Dan, the Heat game plan was, we're sending help to Jokic every single time. We're either doubling hard or we're shading someone over. And I was surprised that they came out with that strategy, and I was surprised that they lasted that long playing that strategy. They kept doing it, and he kept killing them every single time because, much like the Miami Heat, Nikola Jokic doesn't make mistakes. He makes the right decision over and over and over again. It doesn't matter where you're sending double from. Doesn't matter how unexpected it is. Oh, this time it's from the nail. This time it's from the baseline. He sees it all. He's 7 feet tall, and he sees it all. And so game 2, what we saw was a lot more single coverage, one-on-one coverage, no help on them. And especially when they went to that zone in the second half, we saw it doesn't matter who's on him. Gabe Vincent was on him one time. The idea here was like, if he scores, we'll live with that. He scored 41. They lived with it. But what happened was they made it a decision that we're going to smother everyone else, particularly Jamal Murray. We're not going to let him get off. So I don't think Ramona's question was out of line. It sounds like Spo is just bristling at turning someone into this. But come on, man, you knew what she meant.
You were saying after game 1 immediately, don't double him, and that doesn't work. And I would also say, don't do the zone against him. That doesn't work, because I would say don't do anything against him because nothing works.
What works is allowing him to score 40-plus points because the Nuggets are 0-3 when he does so.
If you play perfectly. And in the other 2 times it happened was Phoenix at home, Stugotz. It was Durant.
I was at that game.
It was Durant. What's the point of that? It was Durant.
No, I mean,
hit him.
It was Durant. You're at all the games. That's what you do as a job. We understand. You're going to be part of the post game here after every game because
that was a weird one. I was there.
We're paying you to do that. That's correct. You were there. That's correct.
I just meant in the sense that I was at that game. I remember him having that 50-point triple-double, and I remember walking away saying, wow, the Suns said none of you other guys are going to get off. We're going to make sure that if anybody beats us, it's going to be Jokic through sheer volume. And he tried. He almost did, but it's hard. That's not what they're used to doing.
It is really fun and ridiculous to see this ocean liner moving through the paint, and the ball is in his ash crack, and then it's rolling around on the rim, and no one can do anything, and Bam is stuck in his navel, and it's just watching a cement mixer, no turnover cement mixer, just rolling through the paint, and then flipping it up from an awkward angle, and it's absurd. All of it's absurd. That shouldn't lose. It should never lose.
Dan, I'm telling you, last night, there was like a string of like 6 or 7 possessions in a row where I'm sitting there and I'm kind of doing a mini play-by-play, and Taylor's sitting next to me and other media members, and the Nuggets are going into 2-man action between Jokic and Murray, and the Heat are guarding them. I think it was Bam and Caleb. And I'm saying, good switch, good recovery, good peel. And then he does that. And I say it as I know, as soon as Jokic touches the ball, the shot's going up and it's going in. And he hits it every single time. He had an assist last night where, the Heat defended perfectly. And then they threw the ball to Jokic, and it was just a touch pass to cutting Michael Porter Jr., I believe, on the baseline.
Yeah.
I mean, when I tell you this dude offensively might be the most perfect basketball player I've ever seen, in the sense that he does it all and he makes the right decision every single time. I'm still staggered that the Heat not only won a game against this guy playing that well, but also they won it because Duncan Robinson was the nuts in the house. Duncan Robinson was the guy who was talking trash to the crowd and spurred this huge comeback and fueled this win. I'm beside myself.
I mean, if you're the Heat, do you come out with that same defensive philosophy in Game 3? And if you're the Nuggets, what do you do to fix it?
I think if you're the Heat, the smart thing is not to come out with the same thing again, right? Because you don't want to let Denver get acclimated and accustomed, even though they probably did. They got a bunch of tape now. They're going to look at it. If you're Denver, the biggest thing has to be, how do we get Jamal Murray going? How do we give him freedom of motion? And most importantly, how do we get him and Jokic in a two-man game where he can get it going? Because that's got to be important for them. I think all those other guys, KCP, Michael Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon, they kind of feast off of whatever actions that Jokic and Murray can create. Clearly, Jokic can do whatever he wants on the floor. How do we get Murray going if I'm the Denver Nuggets?
Let me play some sound for you of Michael Malone here, the Denver coach. Let's listen to this.
Why do you think your starters that weren't Joker struggled scoring, I guess?
Well, I don't think that's the biggest question. Now, let's talk about effort. I mean, this is the NBA Finals, and we're talking about effort. That's a huge concern of mine. You know, and you guys probably thought I was just making up some storyline after Game 1 when I said we didn't play well. We didn't play well. And tonight, you know, that the starting lineup to start the game is 10-2 Miami. Start the third quarter. They scored 11 points in 2 minutes and 10 seconds. And we just got, you know, we had guys out there that were just, whether feeling sorry for themselves for not making shots or thinking they can just turn it on or off. This is not the preseason. This is not the regular season. It's not round. This is the NBA Finals. And that, to me, is really, really perplexing, disappointing. And I asked the team, I asked our players, you guys tell me why we lost. And they knew the answer. Miami came in here and outworked us. And we were, by far, our least disciplined game of these 16 or 17 playoff games, whatever it is now. So many breakdowns. And they exploited every one of those breakdowns and scored. So if we're going to try to go down there and regain control of this series and get home court advantage back, we're going to have to outwork Miami, which we didn't do tonight, and our discipline is going to have to be off the charts.
I mean, what are your thoughts there?
I mean, I think Coach Malone's right. Obviously, he says it with a little pizzazz because that's how he coaches. That's how he gets through to his guys. But he's right. They had a bunch of breakdowns. But the one thing I would say is, Coach, that happened in Game 1, too. The Heat had 16 wide open threes. They just didn't make them.
That was
what
pizzazz.
We saw tonight. Well, I mean, like, just the idea of, like, for the idea of saying, oh, we didn't play with effort. Like, that's headlines now. Every show is like, oh, my God, Coach Malone criticizes effort. That's pizzazz, man, because typically the way coaches speak are like, well, we just got to play a little harder. We got to pay attention to detail. They don't say the word effort. We didn't play with effort in the NBA Finals. That could be construed as a little bit on the embarrassing side. But the reality is he has that relationship with them, and he can coach them in that way. But also, again, I would say Coach Malone, you guys had the same breakdowns in Game 1. The big difference is they made the shots this time.
I mean, 30 seconds or less, please. Are you with me on the idea that the reason Malone didn't call timeout is because he doesn't want Spo to have time to set a half-court defense? And he's like, I'll trust Jamal Murray to see if he can get down there and get him to panic a little bit in a situation that isn't a set defense against our team.
No, it's not even a guess. He actually said that after the game. He said, we had so much problems with the Heat defense. We didn't want them set up coming out of a timeout. We had the ball in Jamal's hands. We would want the ball in his hands anyway in those kind of situations. And he got a great look and he missed, and we live with that. So that's exactly the philosophy there, because he doesn't typically do that, Dan. I asked a bunch of Denver people, watch him all the time, Jenna Garcia. I said, is Malone like a guy who just lets them go? I was like, no, he usually calls a timeout in that situation.
Thank you, sir. We'll get back to you on the Jokic brothers.
Oh, yeah.